Bucharest, Romania. Have you been?
Have you been? I was going to ask you. I've never been to Romania.
It's at Transylvania. It's close to where the vampires,
Okay,
Dracula.
Never been, but
The football scene in Romania is really interesting. Great history with Hagi and all sorts of good stuff. It's going to be a good test for Canada taking on Romania and Wales over the next week. You can watch both games right here on One Soccer. Wheeler and Wilson with you. This is Oh Canada, Oh Baby, as we're going to look ahead to the upcoming window. And Jordan knows this because we hang out all the time. Like, I want to put my name in the conversation for any upcoming head coach opening, managerial opening. You know
he's
this.
been chomping at the bit for years.
Because, you know, I think we can do this. Say we.
You said we?
As a team.
Oh.
You can be part of my staff.
I'd be giving you inside scoop, but I'm not going to coaching route. But I think you can.
Well, so we're going to help Jesse Marsh here.
Nice.
And we're going to present our combined starting 11,
Like
how
it.
we would approach
Yes.
the upcoming fixtures. We also included a formation change. I think it's time for Canada to show something new. So Sinclair is a goalkeeper, back four with no Johnston, Bombito, Davies. Lorea on the left, Seager on the right, DeFugerol and Cornelius, your two starting center backs. We like the midfield of Eustachio. Kone can play a little bit higher, potentially underneath Jay David. And Eustachio, did I say that already? Yeah. Ali Ahmed up down the left, Tejan Buchanan down the right. With Jonathan David leading the line, I think he's been playing so deep for Canada.
Yeah.
I want to see him play higher up.
For sure.
The way
I think
that
a lot of
plays,
people do.
Plays for Juventus. Maybe you could walk through for the viewers, you know, our thought process behind this, why the tactical change, and maybe how some of this would work.
I will also talk about maybe the areas that we kind of battled a little bit.
Yeah.
We went to each other. I think goalkeeper will start right there. I think if St. Clair starts as well, Crepeau's probably looking at the situation like, kind of, what about me? Did you forget about me? I have a lot to offer as well. I think it says a lot with St. Clair, the fact that how things ended with Guatemala and penalties. No one's placing blame. But this would just be the time to maybe see Crepeau and see what he could offer as well in these two friendlies that you're going to Europe. So I don't know if St. Clair's going to start. I think Crepeau could absolutely be between the sticks. But you think it's St. Clair?
I'm just going to go based on club form.
Yeah.
And Sinclair's been better than Crepeau. Post-shot expected goals minus goals scored. It's an analytical stat. Basically shows whether the goalkeeper's making saves or having luck in making saves on shots that they're supposed to save. If you have a higher number, it's good. Yeah. Sinclair's third best in Major League Soccer at plus 5.6. Crepeau's down at minus 1.4, 47th. So I understand the whole idea of Crepeau, a leader, and his positioning in the team. I just think that if it's on the balance of who's the better goalkeeper right now in terms of the current form, I think it's St. Sinclair. Although I'm still not convinced by the position.
Either, yeah.
So
I think it's also telling, too, whenever Jesse Marsh talks about Crepeau, he's always talking about that leadership quality and the fact that this is what he'll bring. So it just makes me feel like, okay, after such a loss against Guatemala in the Gold Cup, are you thinking now you need more staples in the team, more voices, more presence? Yeah. So I think whatever he decides, Marsh, and whoever's starting against Romania is telling. I'm not saying that's going to be the keeper, but it is a telling sign.
Back four, is really, it's kind of like, you know, keep your fingers crossed and hope that this works because it's a difficult one. Derek Cornelius is out of favor at Marseille. You know, Luc DeFugerol is just getting his first run-in of playing first-team men's senior football. You know, Lorea, even for club, he's played all over the field. Yeah. So we have him at left back and Seager on the right. Of course, you could play Basong. You can play other players in those roles, but that's just maybe the best four at this time. I know that he's experimented with Seager in the midfield, but I look at him, you know, if you have to move Lorea from right to left, then Seager's going to be your next man up at right back.
I love the back four. Like, obviously, we know...
This back four, you love?
I do, because I think Seager, if you look at the Gold Cup and you look at Canadian Shield, showed his qualities, versatility. I think him down the right side. Remember the goal against Honduras as well? Okay, is he going to get up the same way against Romania? You're going to have to be a bit more defensive-minded. But I like him coming from that right back position. DeFugerol as well. I thought he stepped up this summer in terms of playing that role. We always look who's going to be the third guy. Obviously, Bombito, Cornelius, you know that's the preferred back center-back pairing. But I like the fact that he stepped up in that role. And Richie Lorea, the best right-footed left back that Canada has to offer, like in terms of just reading that role, but also joining into the midfield. So, yeah, of course you're looking at it. You want Davies, you want Adekube. But when you look at that spot of who's ready and available, I don't mind Lorea.
See, I think their center back last year went from being a real position of strength to now this is a potential weakness without these first-choice players in the team. So I think that that's going to have a knock-on effect. even more reason why I think you have to add another player to the midfield.
Yeah.
And this is kind of why we went in that direction. I know that Marsh is kind of stuck with this formation. It sometimes looks like when you're defending, it's a 4-4-2. When you're attacking, who's that link-up player? I would love to see Ismail Kone play that kind of role. I'm not sure that Marsh is going to play him in that kind of role, mind you. Eustachio out of favor at Porto, Saliba just getting his legs wet, playing in European football. Obviously, Chouanier could be part of the equation, but I just think that this is a formation that you need to experiment with, Jordan, because you need to manage games better. Like the way that Marsh ended that game, I know you're down to 10 men with Guatemala. It was like insanity.
I've never seen
the amount of like attacking players on the field. There was no balance to it.
Yeah.
And in international football, you need to control games. And I think that this gives you an opportunity to do just that.
Wheels, I totally agree with you. And look, Canada, anyone who's watching this team, anyone who's invested in this team, this is the biggest chat right now. Should Canada go to a 4-3-3 and why? Because of the midfielders that are playing, the midfielders that Canada has and all the qualities they possess. Like a Kone could give you something different, but you still have the anchors of Saliba or a Chouanier, and you're looking at who's going to partner with Eustachio. The biggest question is Marsh going to change that? Is he going to say, you know what, I want maybe a 10 role because we want to keep the ball in the midfield, or do you want to just keep that press and keep that high form? Because that's what it is. Like Johnny David plays that role of the 10, but he's basically a second striker. But it's because he wants everyone high up. They press as like a 4. Yeah. Then the 2 underneath, whoever's in the midfield, are also high. Everyone's high. I think with the 10 formation, you're thinking that you're going to keep the ball a little bit more. I just don't know if that's a priority for Marsh. And that's why I said weeks back, like, I don't see him changing that. Even though I'd like to, I just don't know if he's going to go with that vibe going into this game.
I think you need to know if you can play this way and experiment, use this awkward. These early September friendlies are awkward because the European domestic season is just kind of ramping up. So use these games when you don't have, a full deck of cards based on your best players. Use this window to experiment, to find out something that you may not know. And that's something that we clearly do not know if you switch things up. I think we've seen it once or twice where Osorio kind of played that role. Jonathan Osorio played the role that we would prefer Ismail Kone to play. Which pushes Jonathan David up a little bit higher. I would like to see it again. Then the question is, okay, what does this do to the role of Jonathan David? Mm-hmm. And I'm fine with him playing up there. I mean, he played that role for Lille, Juventus, he's playing there. He's so smart, and I think him leading the line would actually play to his strengths more. Sometimes I think Jonathan David is too far away from goal for Canada. I want him as high up the pitch as possible because he's smart, his movement is excellent. So I want him leading the line, not the player that's falling into the pockets of space and playing between the lines.
I totally agree with you. Another thing we debated as well is if you have Johnny David with a promised David up top and you have someone who can really bounce off of him and start to see. I guess the question is, we're in September, 9 months away from the biggest sporting event, and everyone is talking about who's going to start, who you're going to use. I think this time as well, when you're playing Romania or playing Wales in Europe, this is time to see, okay, Oliver Shea is just making a move to Villarreal. Should you start him? Should you start a promised David? I don't think we saw enough of him. No. I don't think we know as Canadian fans or Jesse Marsh knows if this is a guy you can rely on. I think this is a time to maybe start him, maybe show that trust and play with David. I think down the road, there's a world, if you're starting that game on June 12th, where you play David by himself, Jonathan David. I mean, I think now you need to play both of them.
You could start Tanny up top with them. Tanny's just made a life-changing move. A lot has been on his plate, so he might prefer to bring him into a game. And I think that you still have the ability to bring on these different strikers, whether it be Oluwaseyi or Larin, who hasn't been playing, by the way, or Promise David, to add if you're chasing the game, if you need a goal, or to give a different look as the game goes on. I guess so. We need to see it. We need to skip it. Like Buchanan is a lock down the right. And it was the left-hand side that has been widely debated. I just think that Ali Ahmed is the best option there. The data and the statistics from when he plays on the right and left, like he's excellent down that left-hand side. His numbers are actually better, and I'm fine with him playing there. And I think that he adds a different sort of element. Maybe it's just not the run and gun like Schaffelberg, but there'll be a little bit more control to his game. And I think he might be a little bit more well-rounded as well.
And he understands the system that Marsh wants. He understands to be high, but to be active, to be in the right spot. the similarities with what he's done as well with the Vancouver Whitecaps when he's been on, specifically in that CONCACAF Champions Cup run, like knowing where to be. And look at this even setup with Jay David that he did against the U.S. Like, you love the way that he's playing and the confidence that he's bringing. And for me, it's looking like the move right now. Is it Schaffelberg, Liam Miller? This is what I like, that there's options, but you have to put Ahmed in the mix for someone who could start in 9 months' time.
He's being linked to a move to Germany as well. I mean, Whitecaps, I don't think we can afford to lose him.
No,
like,
not right now.
Really seems like more of a January thing, but Schalke has been in the mix. Axel Schuster, obviously very familiar with Schalke. Really big club, but
Huge
in the
club.
second division.
Second tier, Bundesliga 2, yeah.
But, I mean, outstanding fans. I mean, that would be a pretty good move for the player. But I think right now, see out the season with the Whitecaps, I think there's a lot to be gained here by potentially going on a run where you can maybe win something.
I agree. Having a season like this, going to Champions League, CONCACAF Champions Cup final, but also maybe a Supporters' Shield, whatever that is. Right now, Vancouver is the place to be with Mueller coming in as well. There's a lot to learn. But I think with him, even with the camp, with the people I speak to about Ali Ahmed, thinking, is it England? Is it championship? Finding the right move. Look, we talk about this all the time, but it's imperative for these players to make sure that they go and they stick, and it's a place that they can call home.
All right, let us know what your starting 11 looks like for these upcoming fixtures. Are we right with a formation change? Are there players that you prefer? Get in the chat. We'd love to hear from you, as always. And while you're there, hit the like button and subscribe.